I've seen again and again in interviews that promises create issues. Let's cut some pizza. JavaScript is a language.
Don't be scared of JavaScript.
JavaScript is very flexible.
JavaScript is your friend.
It's not magic.
Don't be scared of JavaScript.
A bit complicated. Quite a bit complicated.
Next time we'll start making it a bit prettier.
Now, promises have been around in JavaScript for a long time. It was originally developed under a library called Bluebird, at least that's my memory, with the promise A+ pattern, which is the one that then became the standard. Then they've been introduced in jQuery, and then they've been introduced pretty much in JavaScript. There might be some libraries that were in the middle that I forgot about, but doesn't matter much. So the promise pattern is a very common pattern when I want to do something to happen when something else at the later stage happens outside of a user control. So I'm not responding to a user event, but I'm more likely responding, for example, to the data arriving from a fetch. So fetch is a classic case in which I want to use a promise because it's an asynchronous operation. I don't know when the data arrive. I have no way to lock the execution of something in JavaScript because it's single-threaded. So I want to return immediately a value that proxy to the actual value. And that proxy is the promise. So let's see, first of all, how to build a promise. But you probably already use promises if you work with fetch or any other method which works asynchronously. So const delayed data is a new promise. And promises expect a function with two methods, one to resolve the promise and one to reject the promise. So generally we say that a promise is fulfilled if it's resolved, even if that's not exactly true, it's generally true, so I will use the terminology. So we can resolve it immediately. We can just say resolve with name Stefano. I'm resolving immediately. Of course, this wouldn't make much sense. If I have the value, I can just return it. What I want to simulate is that I do not have the value immediately. So I will do it with a set timeout that allow me to execute a function later on. So I wrote my inline function, I put a delay of 1 second. And after 1 second, I want to resolve the promise with my delay data. So now I do delay data.then, which is the way to say when the promise has been resolved. And in here, I can get the data that is passed from the promise, and I can do console.log data. If I run index.js, after a second, it will resolve. Notice that the fact that there's a promise ongoing also locked Node from closing this index and say that the execution is finished. So in a resolved promise, it's also a reason why your code keeps running in Node. To better understand what's going on, if I console log here and I say console log 1, and I console log here and I say console log 2, I will see 1, 2, and the object. And that's because then creates an asynchronous operation. So I cannot lock the code again. I mean, in theory, there are ways to lock JavaScript, but there's pretty much no reason to do so. So I'm not locking the code, I'm saying when the promise is satisfied, then console log data. Now, let's say that I made a mistake in the promise. For example, I call a function that doesn't exist. Now, if I do this, it will throw an error immediately because A is not defined. I need A to be a failure at runtime, not a failure during the precompile phase. So let's say that this one is an empty string, and now let's run the code. Now it is failing again, but this time it's failing because A is not a function, so it will show 1 and 2, while in the other case it's failing at the compile time. It's not actually a compile, but it's failing immediately, so it doesn't even show 1 and 2. In here it's showing 1 and 2, and it fails 1 instant entering here, and it throws, and the entire execution is locked. Now, a promise that is not fulfilled is the same as a promise that has been manually rejected. What I want to do is I want to say .catch, so in case something happens, console log error with delayed data. So if I run this code now, all I see is error with delay data and the code did not crash, which is really good. I can also actually take the error and print the error here, which we'll call the toString method, which I will show error with delay data, and then it will show the entire error. But if I only care about the actual error itself, because it's an error object, I can do e.message. Let's add a space so it's a bit nicer. So I can do e.message, and I will say error with delay data. A is not a function. It depends if you want a stack trace or not, and sometimes you want to display something to the user, like the reason for the rejection, so you only want e.message. There's also the possibility, if you want something to always happen, you can always say finally, and in the finally I can say console log, this will always output. So if I do this output on an error, and even if I forgot the catch, the finally will run, because finally runs no matter what. Of course I want a catch because I don't want these, I don't want the entire JavaScript to die. And be careful, in new version of Node, the entire JavaScript dies. In the old version of Node, if you don't put a catch, you get zero knowledge that something went wrong and simply nothing happens and you spend hours to debug. So it's a good idea to always put a catch with a console log with the error. Always. As for finally, is not really used. And that's because in reality, any then can be concatenated. So I can just, instead of finally, write a then. Because I already catch here, so this then will happen. And if I run, this will work anyway. So I don't know why they choose to create finally. Probably because it's clear it happens no matter what. Or because it works also if I forget to catch. So there might be reasons, but I've never actually seen finally used. The other interesting thing of promises is they can be concatenated. So I can say that in here I get the data, but I only want to extract the name. So from here, instead of console log, I return data.name. And then I take the name, which I can call whatever I want, and I console.log the name. And if I do this, nothing happens because I forgot to remove this error. So now that everything is fine, I will see Stefano because the first then is executed and the result is passed to the second then. And that's very useful, especially with fetch, because every then is a step of the process about how parsing data, and it's a lot nicer to do maybe mapping in one and then in the other one, the filtering. So every then has a meaning in a chain of events that is happening. At the same time, not everyone loves to write a then and a function every time. I wanted a way to write JavaScript as if it was synchronous. And that's how async await was introduced. But I will show you this in the next video.